extra not only does 25%. I'm sorry, that's on allies. Enemy scales
So
from
it's
30 to 60.
Yeah.
God, I didn't realize this ability actually scales really well now.
It's incredible.
It's actually very good now that I'm looking at it. And maybe Cloud9 has realized that. They're like, hey guys, Decrep is actually really good, so we just get a bunch of magic burst. We get a lot of kills using Decrep magic combos, and this is the synergy they're looking for. They're not using it as a Techies counter, they're not using it as a Skywrath counter. They're just trying to get the synergy here. And the same thing goes for Shroy can toss a really high damage nuke, and they can combo that all together and prevent their opponents from taking an easy team fight with Nether Ward. It'll reflect damage and drain their mana.
Yeah. There is some synergy there. I would say that that's cute. It's really good in the laning stage, but if they can't find kills with it early on, again, if Complexity can find that kind of conservative positioning early on, I worry that I'm not articulating well. Cloud9 needs to get some kills with this kind of a strategy. Bounty Hunter, Pugna, if that's what they're going to go for, they need to kill some folks in the laning stage. If this is a bit more of a passive first 10 minutes, then I think Complexity will struggle once those mid-game team fights come out.
Yeah.
Pardon me, Cloud9 will struggle once
I
those
think
mid-game
both
team
teams
fights
are slightly weak on ganking. I guess they have a Spirit Breaker, but other than that, there isn't a whole lot of setup. They don't have the reliability of having stuns on like all of their cores like they did in the previous game. I just love high stun drafts. It makes things a lot easier because anybody can be useful to a gank when you can stun your opponent and do a little bit of magic damage. Obviously, Lena's not a little bit, but I feel like they had so many rotation options. But this game, it's pretty much all coming down to Lina, Spirit Breaker, and their third hero that they pick.
Yeah, Viper as well as Wraith King, the final bans here. Complexity do not want to play against that tanky mid laner, though. I guess it could be Bone 7 playing on the puck, though.
It's a possibility.
I would assume it's Fata, really, that wants to take it mid.
Yeah, Fata definitely plays a lot of pucks, so I think that's a real possibility that it'll be him.
Yeah.
But they could play it off lane. I think that'd be a really good advantage versus Shadow Fiend, because if he gets out of position and there's a bounty there and you've got a puck, he's almost guaranteed dead, right? Because you just get right on top of him so he can't double raise you. He can only single raise you. And Puck can close that gap and chase a lot better than most other mids can. So he does have to worry about getting raised, but with the bounty, I feel like they can definitely push that advantage. If Shadow Fiend gets ahead, then Puck is pretty much useless at killing Shadow Fiend. They pick it again, another Sven. So I like this. It gives them more setup possibilities. They could just do a simple dual lane, and they're still a huge threat. And it scales so well for damage potential. The only downside is Pugna Decrep is quite good versus Sven. They can just make him unable to attack for 3.5 seconds, and that's a really big advantage in the early game before he gets BKB.
All right, and Rubik, the final choice here for Cloud9. So it will be Fata Puck. So does that mean it's Bone 7 on the Pugna here, headed to the off lane?
Ooh.
An odd lane setup here for Cloud9.
Bounty off lane?
Off lane bounty? Is that the way to do it?
That's what it seems like based on the draft.
We've seen him as a dedicated off-laner so seldom. He's been almost exclusively on the farm. I can't think of one game that I've seen where he's been the true off-laner.
Yeah, Bounty is rarely just an off-lane hero, but it's decent, I guess, versus the amount of stuns that Complexity has. But the same thing goes, once they find him, he's a really easy kill because they can do SB charge, into Sven, Lina stun. So there just has to be 2 heroes within chain stun range at all times of the bounty to get him
I feel like it's
killed.
almost more likely that Pugna goes to the off lane, though.
God,
that's not really
that hero's
so great either.
One of the worst strength gains in the game. His survivability is low. Who cares if he gets chain stunned? He's chain stunned for like 3 seconds. I just don't feel like that's the solution.
All right, so who's playing what here?
It is
Bone 7 on the Pugna.
Okay, so they're aggressively tri-laning, I guess, and putting Pugna in the safe lane. That's actually way better, I think. I like that idea.
Okay, that definitely makes more sense.
Okay, so they do head to the aggressive tri-lane. Gyrocopter opting for the Mango, as per usual. And that makes their tri-lane actually pretty good. Bounty Hunter, Gyrocopter, Rubik, that gives the bounty the ability to roam mid if needed as well. What a nice good luck, have fun.
Oh, how nice. Smiley faces aplenty. So that'll put Bone 7 on the Pugna. Fata will take the puck to the mid lane. And Misery, he'll be here on the Rubik. Gets a ward down on that top rune spawn. And they'll hold their other ward for now. Same ward here from Complexity. They put this early one down in the last game. They really like this spot to get a little bit of intel on that bottom rune and just see if there are any rotations coming into their jungle or headed towards the mid lane.
Yeah, it didn't help them that much last game because it was a Spirit Breaker, but even still, a really good place for wards, it seems, is the area where Bounty pops in Viz to approach a lane. If you have a ward in that area, he's not going to be able to use it earlier than that because the duration is very low, only 20 seconds at level 1. So most of the time you'll see him pop invis as he gets close. So if you put those wards slightly to the side, you can get some value out of it.
Good point. Radiant side looks like things will be fairly predictable from complexity in terms of who's playing what. Fly once again will be on his Lina. Swindle will take the Shadow Fiend once more mid. And Ziz on the Sven, 3 for 3 here. Z-Freak, he'll be on the Spirit Breaker on the 4, and that puts Moon Meander on the Darkseer. And it looks like complexity will also be doing the aggro try, same as they did in the last game.
I think this is really good for complexity. I think they again get the lanes that they want, and C9, I feel like as a team is a bit weak at predicting their opponent's lanes, and a lot of times they get into a bad position in their early game. Because I really feel like this is a better setup for them. They can dive the Pugna, they can solo kill him easily, and it's just a Darkseer versus a Gyrocopter. Gyro's okay versus Darkseer and all, but if they're committing all these supports to just a single Darkseer, it's kind of bad. He might actually die down there.
And they don't have that synergy of the decrep into that rocket barrage like you were talking about, so kill potential a little bit more limited.
Ooh.
And up top, Bone 7. Could this be the first
He
blood?
mangos for it.
He mangos indeed. He gets that Storm Hammer off, and now Bone 7 trying to eat his way through the trees. One more auto attack will do it, and Fly secures the first blood.
Ooh.
Ziz not going to be able to make it out, though. It's a 1-for-1, and Bone will get a kill from the grave.
I mean, he does get the first blood, so it's a gold advantage, but if he doesn't buy out there, and he actually can't, he didn't get boots out of it, then it's not maybe the best.
Moon.
That looks like a dead Moon.
He's some trouble here. He does have a surge, but
Or so many
he's
heroes.
definitely going down. Trying to do what little damage to Misery he can before falling. That'll make it 2-1 here as Cloud9 pulls into the lead with hero kills.
Yeah, a bit unnecessary for him to die there, I feel. And again, Fly was the one that got the first blood on the top lane, so he's going to be able to get a fast boot. Ooh. No, sorry, I missed it.
No. So, yep. Yeah, good stuff for Fly. Like we talked about last game, he got a lot of momentum, and I think he'll be happy to transition into a core if possible. Based off this, looks like Bounty Hunter will die to some neutrals here. It seems to be an intentional suicide into the Ancients. No surprise.
Didn't want to spend his regen to heal. I thought it would be better just to spend your money and end up killing yourself.
Lots of pings up top. Bone 7 will be initiated
They
on
land the
again. Can Fly get it?
Good
Nope.
dodge.
Sidestep by Bone. He will
Fly actually in trouble now.
Yeah, maybe. Oh, the
Yes.
decrep. A lot of damage.
Got a salve,
Bone.
though.
Not going to be able to finish him off.
Okay, a little scary there from Fly, but it worked out. Moon. Oh, that looks like a misery kill to me.
Yep, absolutely. He'll try to deny into Roche. Can they find the proper timing here? He'll try to clip Z-Freak. Nope, doesn't even go for it. Gets a bash for good measure to make sure Roche is not up to any kind of trickery. Now back to the top lane as Bone 7 in some trouble in the trees. Hits a Nether Blast on 2. Him and Ziz just running into each other as he's decrept, and now Bone will be sent back to the well. Not much he could do once locked in the trees there. A lot of action already in this game. Purge 4-2 at only the 2.5-minute mark.
That was kind of a lot of regen that they were forced to use there. The Selfs keep coming out during the decrep because they know that they're not going to take any more damage. And Sven went for that, but they're fighting so often that he's already out of regen. And he doesn't even have boots money yet, unless it's flying out on the courier or walking out on the courier.
No, he's actually buying regen. He got another set of tangos and a clarity.
And that's kind of what he needs here so that they can keep killing the Pug. That's the most important part.
At least he's got that magic stick, racking up some charges. Bone 7 doing surprisingly well here in this 2v1 lane setup. Oh, down bottom, Moon in some trouble once more. Rocket Barrage doing some pretty decent damage.
Too.
Yeah, charge onto Misery. Moon, oh, he's tanking a lot here. Creeps trying to absorb some of the damage, but he'll fall before the Spirit Breaker can even get here. Will Z-Freak go for it? Nope, canceled as he approaches the enemy.
I feel like Moon's trying way too hard to outplay them. He's just sticking by the creeps, but I think maybe he's just getting caught a lot, and at that point, once he gets lifted, he's committed, basically. If he ran away from the creeps and he got lifted, he would definitely die there. A little bit of blocking from No-Tail here puts the slowdown. Iron Shell in return, but that Rocket Barrage actually isn't doing too much. They lift him and throw him back here, but I don't think they're going to get this killed. Moon Meander actually taking a ton of